Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Tessie. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, depending on where you are watching from. Hope you all are doing well, and thank you so much for stopping by. So in today's video, we are discussing a very important issue that affects us all, especially those living in Nigeria. So recently, the New York Times, one of the world's most respected newspaper, published a report on the state of Nigeria's economy and the obvious rising levels of hunger and poverty in Nigeria. And believe me, this report is a wake-up call. I wonder why many people are not talking about it. A lot of things were reviewed in this report. According to the report, many families in Nigeria are struggling to feed themselves, and the economic situation is getting worse. The report heavily exposed President Bola Tinubu's incompetence, but instead of taking responsibility and do something about it, as usual, the government is trying to shift the blame. They are saying that the previous administration is responsible for the mess they are in. It didn't take them time to reply. Please, I want you all to stay with me. Please like and share the video so that YouTube and Facebook can recommend it to more people, as we will be taking a closer look at the report and we are going to examine the government response. We will also look at what this means for ordinary Nigerians who are struggling to make ends meet. So without wasting much of your time, let's dive in. So the New York Times report on Nigeria's economy is a detailed and thorough investigation into the state of the country's finance. The report revealed that Nigeria is facing a severe economic crisis with rising levels of hunger and poverty. According to the report, many families in Nigeria are struggling to feed themselves. The report stated that over 60% of Nigerians live below the poverty line, and the country's economy is growing at a slower rate than its population. The report also highlights the lack of investment in key areas such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure. It notes that the country's road, bridge, and port are in disrepair, and that the education and healthcare system are underfunded and understaffed. Now, according to New York Times, this report is based on data and research collected over several months, and it includes interviews with ordinary Nigerians, business leaders, and government officials. So they took their time to make their research concerning the situation of Nigeria. And some of the key findings of the report include Nigeria economy is growing at the rate of just 2%, which is slower than the population growth rate of 3%. Can you see that? It also stated that over 60% of Nigerians live below poverty line, which is defined as living on less than $2 a day. The country's inflation rate is over 15%, which means that the price are rising rapidly and the people are struggling to afford basic necessity. The report also noted that corruption is a major obstacle to the economic development in Nigeria, with many government officials embezzling funds and engaging in other corrupt practices. Yes, it takes outside media to report this to we Nigerians when we have all the medias in Nigeria. All right, we don't blame them because the media in Nigeria, they are highly compromised, and you can imagine why most of them are not talking about this. Now, when the New York Times report was published, the government was quick to respond, but instead of taking responsibility, like I said before, for the country's economy problems, they tried to shift the blame. Bayo Ononoga, a spokesperson for the government, wrote a response to the report, claiming that the economic challenges facing Nigeria were inherited from the previous administration. He said that the current government is working hard to fix the problems, but that it takes time. However, this response is not convincing enough because we Nigerians are not fools. Nigerians, know that the current government has been in power for over a year and a half, and they have continued the same economic policies as the previous administration. In fact, President Bola Tinubu promised to continue the policies of his predecessor, President Muhammadu Buhari, when he took over office. This promise was a clear indication that the new government was not planning to make any significant changes to the country's economic policies, but some Nigerians were too blind to see this ahead of time. And indeed, nothing has changed. The same corrupt practices, the same mismanagement of funds, and the same neglect of critical infrastructure and social services continue to plague the country. Now, by trying to shift the blame to the previous administration, the government is showing that it is not willing to take responsibility for its own failures. They are clearly trying to avoid accountability and distract Nigerians from the real issues. But Nigerians are not fools, like I said before. We know that the government response is just a weak attempt to deflect criticism and maintain the status quo. We all know that the government need to take a bold step to address the economic challenges facing the country, and that simply blaming the previous administration is not enough. Since taking over office, President Tinubu's government has failed to address the economic challenges facing Nigeria. Despite his promise to tackle poverty and corruption, the country's economic problems have only gotten worse. One of the main reasons for this failure is the government refusal to reform the economy. Tinubu's administration has continued to rely on the same old policies that has failed Nigeria for decades, rather than trying a new approach that might actually work. He promised Nigerians that his administration will continue the policies of his predecessor, Muhammadu Buhari, at the time. Many Nigerians were worried about this promise because they knew that Buhari's policies had led to the widespread poverty, corruption, and economic stagnation. Still yet, Tinubu assured Nigerians that he would build on Buhari's achievement and take the country to next level. He said that his administration would continue to implement the same economic policies, the same anti-corruption measures, the same social programs that Buhari had initiated. However, this his promise has turned out to be a disaster for Nigeria. The continuation of Buhari's policies has left the country with more problems than we could ever imagine. And corruption has continued to flourish. The same corrupt officials who enriched themselves under Buhari's administration are still in power, and the same insufficiencies and incompetence that characterized Buhari's government are still present. We all can now see that Tinubu's promise was not just a vague statement, it was a deliberate choice to continue a set of policies that had already failed Nigeria. It was a choice to prioritize the interests of a small elite over the need of the majority of Nigerians. And it is a choice that has a serious consequences that we all have to face. And that is it for you all. Nigerians deserve better. They deserve a government that is accountable, transparent, and committed to their well-being. They deserve a government that will tackle corruption, reform the economy, and provide opportunities for all. It is time for Nigerians to demand more from their government. It is time to demand action, not excuse. It is time to demand a government that will serve the people, not just the wealthy elite. They should not shift any blame because they saw all of this before taking over. They should not tell us that there's nothing like they were not aware, because they were all in power and they saw the state of the nation before dragging to take over power. So it is not time to shift blame. It is time to get to work. And that is it for you all. Please, I want to beg you all, help me by liking and sharing this video, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye bye. Bye.